Hey everybody, and welcome to the PlantStock channel. You're here with Mayur and me, Jesse. And today we're going to talk a little about what is actually going on in the market. We're also going to give you some news or some ideas what we feel about the upcoming Beyond quarter now on Wednesday. But if we just take a quick look on what's going on in the market here, guys, you can see here at Yahoo Finance that the S&P 500 is down 2.7%. The Nasdaq has been almost down 4% here. Russell 2000 minus 377%. And if you take a look at several other companies that we talk about here, very good food company down 10%, Otly 8%. We have Beyond Meat that's around 10 to 11. It was down over 12% just recently. We have Ttcf about 4%, Square 15%, Tesla. Even Tesla is down 7%, and even Apple, the blue chip stock here. So we have a lot of red. So what do you think is going on here, Mayur?
It's just a continuation of what we've been seeing so far. Remember, the big story lately has been high inflation. High inflation has now been followed by high interest rates. And when that happens, equities get hit because remember, the risk-free rate is what determines the multiple that stocks trade at, right? So that's been the front and center story now for some time. And things really intensified this past 2 weeks or so, and then continuing on today. So it's the same story as we've been seeing: risk off due to high and rising interest rates, and a fear that the Fed might have lost control over inflation. So we will see. A big thing that's coming up this Wednesday is not just Beyond Meat's earnings, but also an update on the consumer price index, which is the rate of inflation.
Yeah,
That's going to be key
yeah.
to figure out where we go with these markets here.
What are you expecting there? We've been lately at 8.5%, right?
8.5%, yeah, here in the US.
Yeah,
So if there's an indication that inflation is topped, I think that could represent a short-term bottom in the market. I've been thinking that the Nasdaq would get to about 12,400. It's gotten now below that. It's well below 12,300 now.
yeah.
So I think it's very close to, in my view, to being at a bottom. I could be wrong about that, but we will see what happens on Wednesday. So if inflation does come in below expectations, and if it shows that inflation is easing off of that 8.5%, which I think might happen, then I think that'll put at least some fear away for some time until we see more data coming out, confirming that.
Yeah.
So Wednesday will be key for these markets here, I think.
Right, right. Yeah, because there's been several experts that have said that if we do reach some kind of, like you're talking about, some bottom now this month, maybe the rest of the month could actually be a very short one, but a short bull run. And which is not surprising considering that the prices we're seeing now, the valuations we're seeing now with a lot of great companies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I've been saying this for some time. We went through euphoria in the markets. Companies were trading at ridiculous multiples to revenue when they were nowhere close to hitting profitability. So this is, one, a reversal of that excess, euphoria, right? Everyone thought every company out there is going to change the world.
yeah,
Everybody can't change the world, right? That just doesn't happen that way.
no,
So this is a reversal of that, but now it's being, exacerbated because of rapidly rising interest rates, right? And we can see that from the chart of the 10-year Treasury yield.
yeah,
You can see that TLT has really crashed, really. So that's been an eyebrow raiser for
yeah,
everyone.
yeah. And especially, obviously, even companies that are profitable, we can see that they're actually going, like I talked about here, Apple and Tesla, that's normally looking pretty good in many ways. They're also going down pretty heavy here. And even Twitter, we have Netflix, FB, Amazon. But obviously, like guys, if you're not profitable, if you don't know what's going to happen in the near term, then those companies are going to take a really big beating as they are too right now. So even
Yeah.
though no one is spared, there is a difference for sure. So
Yep, absolutely, yeah.
yeah,
And so this is setting up a great opportunity on the long side, but there could be further downside to go.
yeah,
However, I think that it's getting close. I
yeah.
think it is getting close.
So to some extent, you would say we talked a little about how you might handle this. Uh, is this the is you're starting to feel that this is where the bottom could be to some extent, and this is a good time to start buying then?
Yeah, I've been saying. What I've been looking at is where the Nasdaq likes to come back to. This is an important chart, I think. The Nasdaq 100 is what I'm doing. What I'm looking at here, right here. Well, right now this is TLT, and you can see that this has really fallen off of a cliff here, and that's basically where long-term interest rates are being represented, right, with
Oh,
TLT. So the lower this goes, that means the higher the yield. The higher the yield, the lower equity multiples are in terms of valuation.
yeah,
So that's why, with this big drop off in TLT, we see, this huge sell off in the NASDAQ, as well as in the entire ARC complex, right? Which is the unprofitable growth companies.
yeah,
But in terms of why I think we're near a drawdown, the NASDAQ likes to return to this 120-week moving average, as you can see here, even before the great financial crisis. This 120-week moving average is really where the NASDAQ likes to come back down to. So we've seen that happen at least, a half dozen times during this past 10-year bull market. Even during the great COVID crash, it only briefly crossed below it. And right now we're briefly crossing below it as well. So, I think it's getting close in my view if you were to believe that this is a standard correction. Only if you think that the market is slipping into recession and earnings are about to get hit across the board, only then would you see further downside, like what we saw here, where where that moving average did not provide any support at all, right? And that was during the Great Recession of 2008, 2009. So, there could that could happen again. I don't know if it'll be that bad, but um, as of right now, I don't see that happening.
there's a plenty of people out there and plenty of YouTubers, and obviously that's sometimes, I guess, part of the YouTube to create fear, right? But that claims that this will be worse than 2008. So
Um, it could be, but as of right now, the data does not provide, show that, right?
no,
If you watch all of the macroeconomic indicators, especially the leading ones like Chicago PMI, factory orders, ISM manufacturing, these are all, economic gauges that track, activity, production, and consumption. And right now, very few of them are flashing, significant warning signs.
yeah.
So, is the data softening? Sure. But is it flashing recession? No.
So I thought it would be interesting just to take a look at the VIX, and it's up at 34 right now, actually. So
Yeah,
also, yeah,
it's getting up there. It is
yeah,
getting up there. This is actually a great contrarian indicator too.
yeah.
So when the VIX gets into the upper 30s, that's historically been very close to a bottoming out for the market. So you can see every time it gets to that 40 area, it might have a little bit more to go, but you usually don't lose any. Investors don't lose money when you go long when the VIX is at 40 and you hold for a couple of years.
Oh, right.
So
All right.
that's a great time to get in.
All right, folks, there you had it. That's the market situation now. And if it's the time to actually start investing, well, it's up to you. As always, it's not financial advice. Do your own due diligence. But thank you for today, guys. And remember to smash that like button if you got some value. Subscribe to the channel. And take a look in the description if you want to join our free Discord channel, if you want to talk with Mayur and myself and a bunch of other great people. All right, guys, thank you for today. Thank you, Mayur, and peace out.